Tonight, serious questions remain about police conduct after an El Paso man died following an altercation with an officer. Harrison Parker is in the studio, who spoke with an expert about how crisis intervention teams can help diffuse these sort of situations.
That's right, Vanya. Today I spoke with an expert in the sheriff's office. He leads their crisis intervention team. Now, going back to Sunday, the tragedy that day involving Xavier Hernandez also raised questions about why El Paso Police's crisis intervention team wasn't on the scene and why the situation there escalated the way it did.
You know, he was not a dangerous individual. You know, I think it necessitated a call out to the crisis intervention, the CIT, which is designed to deal with situations just like this.
That's Gabriel Perez, the attorney for Xavier Hernandez's family. Hernandez died after a confrontation with police on Sunday. EPPD declined to comment on its crisis intervention team involvement, citing the ongoing investigation. So we spoke with the El Paso County Sheriff's Office, which has operated its own crisis intervention team since 2021.
Primary things to de-escalate, they want to come to the safest resolution possible.
Lieutenant Aaron Navarez is the leader of the Sheriff's CIT. He says they have 10 officers and 8 clinicians operating from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., 7 days a week, and average about 50 calls a day.
All they're going to do is try to kind of overwhelm you with kindness, right? So they do that all the way up until that's not feasible for whatever reason.
Navarez says the officer and a clinician are either called out by police or operators or listen on the radio for hints that they're needed at a call. When they arrive at a scene, the two are meant to collaborate for treatment.
So once THN does their full assessment out in the field, or our deputies, they'll kind of come together, huddle together, and try to make a determination like, hey, what does this person need, right? Are they good to just go home and we can link them to services? Do they need to go to a hospital now? If so, are they willing to go?
Navarro says even the officer gets 120 hours of training to join CIT, mostly focused on mental health screening and de-escalation tactics. He's seen video of Sunday's incident and says while it's too early for judgment, physical intervention isn't always wrong.
Sometimes a more focused use of force early on could prevent a lot of worse escalatory, or escalation I should say, on the back end. So it just depends. Our subject will get a vote in how we go about that.
Sorry to interrupt, Vanya. The Sheriff's Office, pretty excited actually. One thing we didn't get to is that their new batch of 11 graduates for their deputy training program, they're going to get that full crisis intervention team training, so hopefully diffuse that talent even more into the rest of the department. We're very excited about that.
Yeah. Now, I did want to talk about the fact that you're talking to the El Paso County Sheriff's Department, and we're not talking to the El Paso Police Department, who is the entity that responded. Can you talk to us about, what the Sheriff's Department's view is on all of this?
Yeah, so obviously they were heartbroken to see that footage. You never want to see it escalate the way it did, but he also hedged a little bit. Now, you heard him talk a little bit in that package there about, in the story there, about watching the footage. Now, that is the kind of situation these crisis intervention teams are made for, but also you have to keep in mind that this man was on the highway. They do say even, you can hear him talk about it a little bit there, even in cases where you want to de-escalate, you do want to get people out of harm's way and you do want to make it safe for the public. So they hedged a little bit. They're, like everyone else, waiting for the results of this investigation.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your reporting, Harrison. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.